jobs, who eliminate you. Upon having that, I also saw it was necessary I report to my government in Malawi. I flew in Malawi. I met the then president, who is actually now, again, has been elected again to be the president. Congratulations to him. And I had a meeting with him, and I explained the whole issue. I remember he actually said that he was extremely touched and asked me to also, apart from the government efforts that we would do, he also requested that I should involve the local Human Rights Commission. I did. The Human Rights Commission of Malawi that time went to the embassy, South African embassy, and lodged a complaint. And this is on records, to say our citizen is being harassed with his wife. And the embassy advised them to write the South African Human Rights Commission, which these two organizations began to interact over our rights. Nothing happened. And this made us also to take further steps, because the threats of our lives and the demand of money began to grow. It was in this moment when we were also visited by one of the police officers, known as Mr. Paul. He was, I think, a Captain Paul, who said that the General of the Hawks, a department which these 4 police officers were coming from, would stop our case if we would give him something. I remember some of my team members going to have a meeting with this fellow general, known as General Sibia. So much money was collected in the name of this general to stop this case. Instead of the general to stop the case, so it was corruption after another corruption. Problem, you go to the authorities, they also are demanding for something, to end something. I remember my team having a meeting with the then General of Hawks at his farm several times. Having meetings with him at his residence in Silverton several times. An attempt for our justice failed. It was then I decided to even take more steps further. I went to have a meeting with the Inspector General. There's an office in South Africa known as the Inspector General. The good part, we have affidavits from each office I'm mentioning to you that we visited, that we went to. We took the affidavits because we knew tomorrow was coming. The director in this office, when we went there, they welcomed us, and it's the office that helped us. They simply referred us to a department known as IPD, Independent Police Department, that investigates corrupt cops. We went into this office of the IPD, where we opened a case against these police officers who were harassing us. So an official police case was opened with a case number. However, the IP department assured us that they were planning, they had applied for a warrant from what is known as the National Prosecution Authority, NPA, where they would get some funds, some money, and give the money to us so that we should tell these police officers that the money was ready and that when they are coming to collect the money, the IPD should arrest them. A mission was planned that the following day, this must be done.
But the more we were waiting, the more our lives were seriously threatened. We're all aware what happened in our ministry, in our church. Our members across the world, more especially in South Africa, they're aware that we had some two gentlemen who had come at our church with their Forex trading platform, which they had helped some people at first who had invested the money on their platform. And some people made money and they were paid money. And that made so many people also to have an interest in investing over their platform. A thing which I myself, as a leader, do encourage that people should actually be in business and they should make money. But when these people began to make money, they became selfish and decided to run away with the people's money. My wife and I decided to stand for our people, the victims in our church. Personally, we spent our own money, almost worth 70 million rands, paying off all the victims in our church. We're actually hunting for them, and we're paying them through lawyers. And our intention was so simple. We opened a case against these two guys through the same lawyers, and they say, arrested them. We will pay the money to the victims. And when you arrested, and there were only a few members in the church whose their money was not yet refunded. And what happens? Those same police officers who arrested us on the first case came and arrested us over the issue of these two gentlemen. Among these two gentlemen, they arrested one. We were obliged because we are people who respect the rule of law. But what was so much worrying was the fact that we had a warning and we were actually told that the main reason why this arrest was happening was for them to have access and get rid of us. My wife was physically told in the prison, when we were being kept in the prison, by one of the nurses to say that there was an arrangement that an injection should be given to her so that she can slowly have a sickness and die. I remember in the cell where I was being put, at night, a very big scorpion, known as a red scorpion, and this scorpion apparently is found in Amazon forest, was thrown in my room. And by the grace of God, I didn't even realize that there was a scorpion. And I slept. When I woke up, I found this scorpion under me, and it had died. Apparently, maybe I could have slept over it. So I just thought it's a scorpion, and I pushed it away. But what shocked me was a man who came and knocked at my window, and he said that he was having his mother at our church. And he asked me to say, are you okay? Because last night, we were told to come and throw a scorpion in your room. Did you see a scorpion in your room? That made me not surprised because we were so familiar of different attempts to assassinate us. One of the most shocking things was their burial conditions at this time around they were asking for. Their burial conditions were that these four men should actually know all our movements and where we are staying, and that we must be confined in a very small area. And for us, that was a threat because we knew who these men were. We had exhausted all our efforts, and we had reported them to all relevant authorities, and that was a very serious threat. While we thought we should stay in South Africa and prove ourselves right, shockingly, we had a tip, and I was in the car. We had a tip to say, we have been sent to kill you. One person actually called one of my pastors who is in this room as well, and the pastor called me and said, please, prophet, where you are right now, change the car. That was a call that saved my life. Immediately, I moved from the car. That was the day, I think all of you are aware, when we survived a very serious assassination attempt in Santon on the 26th of February at the filling station. Luckily, the filling station had the footage. We opened the case, and the case was dismissed even before an investigation started. This is not justice, and that's not how justice must be. We were the first complainants, and nothing was done. This is what prompted us to come back home here in Malawi to seek for justice. When we came to Malawi, it was not running away from justice, it was seeking justice. When we came here, we handed over ourselves to the authorities, to the police, to say we had a case in South Africa and we have handed over ourselves to you so that we can go to court and continue with the matter. To show the hatred and serious ill will that we have been saying and we've been first in South Africa, there was a document that came from South Africa forbidding our child who was supposed to go to get medical assistance in Kenya. Our child stayed at the airport for quite some days just because they just don't want the child to go to hospital. Remember, this is not a child that was staying with us when we were in South Africa. This child was already staying in Malawi. And this child had already traveled before when we were already in Malawi to Kenya. And this time around, it was so shocking. Well, God's will is God's will. We lost our child. May her soul rest in peace. When we stayed here, we never missed a single court hearing because we were trying to prove we were not running away from justice. Today, I'm here to tell you that a few months ago, we had a ruling in the lower courts, which is the magistrate court. This ruling was amazing and interesting. The ruling stated that 11 cases were dismissed in the magistrate court. If I'm correct, if I'm right, but they reserved few cases, which they said, these few cases, we keep them for you to be surrendered to South Africa. We disagreed with the decision and sought to take the matter to the High Court, which today they made the ruling. And these are the summary facts from the ruling today. So this is the general summary of the finding from the issues raised during review. So there's one, no reasoning was made by the magistrate. Number two, there was improper authentication of extradition documents. That's number two, improper authentication of extradition documents. As well, another reason, over-reliance on hearsay evidence by the witness from Republic of South Africa. Basically, the evidence which was presented in the courts, even in South Africa, when we were there, was a hearsay, not factual. Let me just read out as it is. On this one, I'm going to read a small paragraph which says, over-reliance on hearsay evidence by the witness from Republic of South Africa is inadmissible in Malawian extradition proceedings. Going by the court record of the magistrate maintained, the witness admitted under cross-examination that he relied on investigators who themselves relied on complainants. No direct evidence from complainants or investigators was presented to ground the request to extradite. This is dangerous trajectory and is, to say the least, clutching at straws. Under the equality principle, applicants were not allowed to give their part of hearsay evidence. Equality before the law is paramount and cardinal principle of law. Another reason is no competent witness testified on key legal questions. Another point, the magistrate committed Mary Bushiri on a charge of immigration-related forgery that was never proffered. This court soared through the loads and loads of paperwork available. It would take a surgeon to come up with a ruling going by the volume of paperwork to be processed. The Committee on Immigration-Related Forgery does not appear in the extradition docket. Let it be added that the magistrate had no authority to invent or expand charges beyond what was formally submitted to move host country over an extradition hearing. What it actually means is that some of the cases which we are told to go and answer cases in South Africa do not exist. The finding that there was sufficient evidence on 3 rape counts lacks legal basis. And this also speaks that the High Court notes that the complainants were anonymized, meaning to say they were not even mentioned, A to H. There was no mapping between them and the warrants. Going further, the magistrate failed to analyze whether or not the statements supported the legal definition of rape under Malawian law. We have no correspondence between 3 rape warrants and the 3 remaining charges. It's the same story. Then no sufficient evidence existent to sustain a forgery charge relating to the aircraft loan agreements. So there was no evidence. The request is tainted by, that's another reason why they have ruled in our favor. The request is tainted by bad faith, political motivation, and oppressive delay without protecting their right to life after a bomb attempt which blew up car for applicants but missed their lives. Anyway, so these are some of the reasons which the ruling has come. In conclusion, they have agreed with us on the review application which we applied in the court. And with these words, allow me to thank each one of you, our partners, our friends, our followers, wherever you are. As I did mention, no longer how long a river may be, it has its end. It doesn't matter how long the river may be, it has its end. As I also have been saying, that no matter how they may paint you, but the real you will always be stronger. Amen. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you once again for your prayers. We are aware of all the prayers, the fastings, and some of you even going even further and even handling our legal bills. And I should tell you this, that there's no single day we paid our legal bills. We had people who God anointed, and they said, we will help you, and we'll be the ones taking care of your legal bills. May God bless you. This is not just a victory to us. This is a victory in the body of Christ. We are so much aware that you've been praying for us, and this has made us stronger. It was not easy. It was difficult. My wife and I have gone through everything that a human being shouldn't and must not go through. But I thank God for the grace of strength amidst the storm that He gave my wife and I, that sometimes would come from the court and come straight on the pulpit to preach to you. The story you have heard today, you have never heard it before. Today we are telling you for the first time of the trauma, pain, impunity that we faced and suffered. But through it all, the Lord was our strength. We declared, and we are still declaring tonight, and we said whether God will save us or not, but we will not bow to any other God. To Him alone be the glory. To Him alone be the honor, the praise forever and ever. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that tonight we are supposed to have partners meeting, which we have shifted. That the meeting which was supposed to happen tonight, we're going to mix it together with the meeting that will be happening on Saturday, tomorrow. We're going to combine these together. Tonight, we couldn't have that other meeting we're supposed to have. Tonight, we had to remove all other programs, and we just want to thank God. Tonight, we just want to worship God. You may do well to join us to praise God. You may do well to join us